The next station will be Fortuna 69.
Just in case you live under a rock, DE has decided to finally remove that backbreaker bullshit from the Kovalich system, which will arrive supposedly next week. I'm not a rocket scientist or anything, but I assume that not taking user feedback into account for improving the game is, a bad idea. Considering how obviously upset Steve was about people not liking how Kovaliches could one-shot you just for not having the right pairs and mod sequence, it makes me wonder if they looked at their Steam chart statistics recently and said, "Fuck." Regardless, the reputation of Warframe during the early days was built entirely around how they would actively and legitimately interact with players along with any and all ideas presented. For instance, players asked for Warframe to have a story, and they plopped out the second dream, which was and is still the best quest in the game. As time has gone by, speaking with DE has felt more and more disingenuous, for lack of a better term. It's not uncommon for somebody to throw some feedback in DE's direction and receive not so much as a simple thank you for your feedback message. Even as a Warframe partner, every once in a while it feels like no amount of sent ideas will change DE's mind. For a game like Warframe, that's not healthy. Yes, I understand that DE can't always listen to every player that exists, because that would imply that the minority of players would also affect the game for everyone else, and that's not always a good thing, as we've seen before with Conclave medallions. You can't forget that Warframe is a free-to-play game. Money and players are needed for the game to keep existing. Take away one of those two factors and you're royally fucked. Team Fortress 2 lives on despite the fact that Valve hasn't really supported the game in ages, because the community is incredibly loyal. If you ask me, Warframe isn't capable of achieving this same feat. Sure, the community might be a bit fanatical, but the community isn't able to host servers like TF2 can. Pulling the plug on Warframe due to lack of content means the game is entirely gone, and everyone gets a copy of the Donzo Manifesto. I really don't care how ambitious the creative vision quote-unquote that Steve or Scott have for the game is. If you don't legitimately do or at least think about what players want, you're preventing the game from flourishing. It's fine to be ambitious, but doing it over and over with no regard to the integrity, mechanics, or just the simple thoughts of the players leads to situations like now, where everyone and their mother is waiting for Railjack to actually be as interconnecting as it was promised back in TennoCon 2019, and as a result, the number of active players nowadays is so low that it feels like we're back in 2017. In the old days, screaming at DE for them to change their minds about something wasn't really a thing, besides a universal vacuum. Nowadays it's essentially a requirement, partly because of the amount of people that have joined the crowd of players, and partly because DE outright saying no is more common. I really don't care if you look at how I've interacted with DE in the past and hate me for it. I'm talking to you. Yes, you. It's been proven that the one surefire way to get DE to change their mind about basically anything is to generate enough attention to it that DE's public image as the good guy developers is threatened. There's a reason why we suddenly got the ability to buy Prime Vault accessories separately. It's because DE's public image was threatened by that one video that Jim Sterling made, and everybody knows that the easiest way to affect a person or company's reputation is to have a large following. There's a reason why DE basically complied with all the requests of my chat moderator video, despite the fact that their wording was basically, "You can't fire me, I quit!" The reason I made the chat moderator video in the first place is because of the ridiculous number of times that a player brought up how bad the chat moderator program was, only for somebody at DE to respond with "we're looking into it," and then nothing would happen. Over. And over. And over again. The point of the chat moderator video was to demonstrate a long-ignored issue and demand a resolution or reasonable answer. Nothing more, nothing less. It's incredibly mind-boggling that DE has so many resources to use to gather and refine player feedback that they oftentimes refuse to utilize, let alone look at. The community inbox, the Warframe forums, the Warframe subreddit, the Design Council, the Warframe Partner Program, etc. With all of these things in place, there's absolutely no excuse for DE to ignore player feedback, release something that nobody asked for, and then pull a surprised Pikachu face. Doing so only perpetuates the idea that DE doesn't play their own game, and I don't know if you're aware, but designing something that you never play is the equivalent of choosing Helen Keller as the architect for your house. The changes they're delivering for the Kovalich system are certainly a good start, but that begs the question, why can't we get more shit like this? I'm not a game designer by any stretch of the imagination, but it's obvious even to me that one of the reasons people started to no longer play Warframe after Railjack was because, well, it's not fun, and after waiting for it to be released for over a year, that's only a natural response. The only thing that's more unfun than that is asking DE to change something, only to be responded with,
Unfortunately, I'm diagnosing you as not epic.
"Thank you for watching.